The Outer Hebrides have had significant benefits from the European Union over the years. The single European market is incredibly important for us. A lot of our produce, be they fisheries, agriculture, textiles, go away and need quick access to the European market. So to be able to retain and be involved in that single market is going to be incredibly important for us. There's also a range of different European funding streams, such as the Horizon scheme and the Interreg schemes, which are important for research and development. We have a range of businesses in the islands who are engaged deeply in research and development. So to be able to access funding of that type is going to be really important to us. Similarly, there are a lot of community schemes. The Leader scheme comes to mind, where communities in the Outer Hebrides have benefited significantly over the years. Climate change is an important strategic consideration for the European Union. We know here in the Outer Hebrides, with the wind that blows over us and the seas and tides that run around us, that we have significant levels of clean, green, renewable energy. We believe that we can bring that energy to the European market.
The most significant benefit that we've had from being part of Europe is the investment into facilities and the additional funding that we've had from Europe. At Lewis College, we had a significant investment in facilities. I mean, the buildings that we're in today here in Stornoway were funded partly by European Regional Development Fund, and we were also able to develop new facilities in Benbecula and Barra, also as a result of that significant funding from Europe. But one of the other things that European funding has enabled us to do, the European Social Fund has enabled us to develop learning and teaching programs. We have benefited significantly, particularly in recent years, from being able to attract European students to come and study here.
2 years ago was the first time we won. We didn't really expect that, but then there was more surprisingly that we won again. And like when you win, you feel good, and you know something and you're good at something. In the Euro quiz, there was like 4 languages that you could choose from. But we've been
French,
mainly
German,
learning
Italian, and
French.
Spanish.
But we chose French.
We were learning about culture of all the different countries in Europe.
You get to learn about what's actually happening, and also it can be really educational.
Yeah, we even had our own little referendum on the voted who wanted to stay in the European Union and who wanted to leave.
And a few people chose to talk about it.
Well, I've been involved with crofting. My earliest memories are as a child here, and in the last 15 years we've diversified into something that's quite new for here, and that is the breeding of pedigree cattle. Well, you know, there are major advantages, issues to do with disease, but also tied in with climate, changing climate. No one nation, no one country can tackle that by themselves. On the livestock side, we've sold as far as, in 2013, we sold heifers to Switzerland, and earlier this year, 2016, we sold some young bulls to Finland. To look back on that and see how has this Highland cow breed performed for us. And on both counts, on both of these questions, the answer has been, very well indeed.
BASF Callanish is a company that produces farmer products for export, and clearly needs funding assistance for the future, and that funding and assistance is European backed, and so that European funding is fundamental to the prosperity of the business going forward. So we depend on the local community for a very skilled workforce, a talented, qualified workforce, and that funding actually helps our processes develop, which means we need to develop our people, and so it all fits together, process development, product development, and developing the local workforce. I think movement of people within the European Union isn't an issue for us today. We are a global company and people move globally within BASF. So we benefit from the integration of the European Union. It's helpful to the business to move expertise from one location to another.
Funding is for the frail elderly and people with dementia and their carers living in remote areas. Western Isles, the Shetland Isles, locally here, this RemWage project has 4 work stream, which is happening in Uist, and we're working that along with the Benbecula practice down there. We have an intergenerational project about to take off in the early part of next year, and there is some evidence to indicate that bilingual people can stave off dementia by up to 4 years. So we're going to start a project in January connecting up a Yockers school with the Dallabra Care Home around storytelling and poetry and singing maybe, whatever, but that the children will operate the technology with the older people and they will connect over technology. This particular thread of the project is the technology end. Well, at first our aim was 1, and we were given permission to use the facility here at Greenan for a pilot for a year. Technology can be very, very simple things, which are displayed in the flat here, to the most technical things, such as robots. For example, if you were living in Glasgow and you had your mother or father here on the islands, you can actually switch on in Glasgow and say, "Hi mum, dad, whatever, what are you doing today?" You can see if they look okay.
10 years ago this month, the South Uist estate was bought on behalf of the community for £4.6 million. In that time, we've undertaken significant transformational projects in the estate. I would say that without EU funding, particularly ERDF, we would not have been able to undertake anything like what we've been able to achieve. Loch Boysdale Port of Entry, a wind farm project for continuing revenues in the years to come, in addition to things like estate management, drainage, housing, and Askanish Golf Course. These projects were all completed, and in particular the Loch Boysdale Port of Entry, which was a £10 million project, it received £1.9 million from the EU, which actually made the difference.
There's a kind of mix of various projects connected perhaps to some degree with what you might call the local or traditional industries, some in the fishing and crofting sector, tourism and such, some infrastructure projects. On Battersea, they developed a fishing slipway there with improved access. Other fishing related projects in, well, mainland Barra, as you might say, around the successful Ardvianish fishing port area. Connectivity of the islands as well, connecting Barra up with Eriskay and South Uist with an improved ferry service, and that involved the construction of a causeway to Eriskay from South Uist, then the construction of a harbour at Canagarai on the south end of Eriskay. There's been a lot of investment into the business sector, including the tourism sector, with the construction of business units on the development site in Castleby, alongside another very successful enterprise linking into the University of the Highlands and Islands, that's the Barra Learning Centre, in addition to the, the successful water sports developments. There was European funding, ERDF funding for the Western Isles Way, again
still in the final stages of development. With the walk in particular, there's a cycle route, walk route, taking in a number of roads and other tracks throughout the Western Isles. And on the cultural heritage side of things, we have quite a lot of developments in the kind of museum area, the museum field. Kildonan Museum is currently being extended. Tourist attractions, for example, the Chewnbun na Trianach in Carriage in North Uist attracted European funding as well.
Corum's main business is training and learning, but we also run a furniture recycling enterprise and a full-time Gaelic nursery. The building that we're sitting in just now was built in 2007, and the building had, I think it was about £366,000 of ERDF funding. As a training provider, we're contracted by Skills Development Scotland to deliver modern apprenticeships across Uist and Barra. That includes management and childcare, hospitality, things like that. And this is also part funded by Europe. Through Restore, Corum is also contributing to the EU priorities of protecting the environment, the circular economy, and reducing our carbon footprint. Restore recycles furniture and textiles, which we save from landfill. This project was also supported by LEADER funding in 2007. LEADER is part funded by Europe, and that funding allowed us to have to put mentors in place for the students that worked very closely with them in a one-to-one way, just to help them to overcome their barriers.
We're a mill and wool centre based at Scotland on the island of Grimsey in North Uist. And the mill itself was built in 2013 actually, and it was part funded by Leader in Ashgall, and we were very fortunate that they were approved our grant in the first instance, because we really had tried other sources, and it was kind of hard to convince a funder that the mill was a viable operation at that time. So that was fantastic, because it gave us a space to install machinery and actually start the training project on the machinery itself. And actually we applied for funding for training, which was a 3-year project called Callanas, which is the Gaelic for wool work. And that funding, the majority of it came again from the European Social Fund, which again was an opportunistic application on my part, because I hadn't heard of it until one of the local project officers who works for the council actually mentioned it to me, and she said, give it a go.
Going forward, next year we would hope to bid into the Council Employability Fund, which is part funded by the EU. That will help us to deliver our services better here in Uist.
You'll see these projects live in Loch Boysdale, in Loch Carnan, Askanish Golf, and the office that we're sitting in here, that EU funding has been absolutely crucial to what we've done.
I mean, that is the aim, to improve, the economy of the island, keep people on the island, particularly young people, and it's difficult to do that without job opportunities.
You're hopefully offering people a career, an opportunity to work in an industry that actually is enjoyable. It's hard work, but the best thing is people who are here are enthusiastic and knowledgeable about wool.
All too often we think of ourselves as being at the edge of something, the edge of Europe or the edge of the world, but having students coming here to study and also having staff coming here to work from other European nations has made a big difference, and it does bring that confidence.